Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Jesper Person, and on this channel here we are talking about skincare and sometimes about hair care, gray hair and stuff like that. The point here is that I don't hide behind a filter, so as you see me here, it is actually just how I look. So in other words, I don't hide behind a filter. So today we are going to talk a little bit about skincare, in the sense that we are going to look at some of that sort of skin that is really irritated, something that needs to be soothed. So luckily there are a lot of products for that, and I have bought various of them because I was just in France some weeks ago, and maybe you saw my video about that. And there I found some products, and actually I added another product the other day that I just saw here in the UK, but it was a French product as well. It is from Bioderma. It looks like this, and it is an SOS cream, so it's something like this, supposed to soothe your skin kind of like straight away, really. And it is a sort of it's a spray. So the other ones that I have here, that is one from Avène, and that is one of these Antirougeurs. So it is meant to help with red skin and stuff like that. So Rosacea basically. And then we have another one here from another French company, and it's called SVR, and it looks like this. And this one here is not for your entire face. It is something that is meant for your eyelids. So when I took it, I just thought, well, maybe it's gonna be rather greasy on the eyelids, but I think that when I tried it the other day, it felt like it wasn't like overwhelmingly greasy, but still it's something that will go in and soothe irritated, flaky and red sort of irritated basically skin, and therefore it will be sort of a little bit greasy. But they have added a little bit of some starch, at least at the bottom of the ingredients list, in order to kind of stem the tide of greasiness from the product. And when I tried it on, I mean, it's just for your eyelids, so unless you have very big eyelids, then this is gonna last a very long time, I think, because you don't need that much of it. So actually yesterday when I tried it again, I just dabbed it around my eyes as well, because I basically got a lot of it on. Because usually you have something like this and it's for your eyes, and then you would think maybe a pea size or something like that, you need that, but it's a lot just for your eyelids. So we will just be trying this one here, and we will be trying the other ones here, so the Antirougeurs as well, and we'll be trying this spray thing here as well. And I've obviously tried it before, so I know a little bit about what to come when I try that one. So if we try this one here first, and not using overwhelmingly too much, just a little bit, so can maybe half a pea size or something like that. I just take it out like this. So I would say this is a lot, because this is basically just for your eyelids, so like that. But of course you can use it around your eyes as well. I did that the other day, and it felt a little bit like it wasn't tacky, or it wasn't like now I got a little bit down here as well. And obviously you need to be a little bit gentle with your skin around your eyes and your eyelids as such. Kind of like to begin with, just dab it on, and then you can just smear it gently around. Now I don't have irritated eyelids, but this I just thought I would try it anyway, because it is nice to know for someone that is thinking about buying the product, if it is overwhelmingly greasy and stuff like that, and if it basically annoy the eyes and so on. But I would say it did not run into my eyes, so it didn't annoy my eyes as such. So I just put it on, and it felt okay. I did it in the evening, because normally I don't put a cream on in the daytime. I just sometimes spray a little bit of some water on my skin, and then I put on a sunscreen. So I put this stuff on in the evening, and then dab it on like that, and it just felt like it wasn't like when you're opening and closing your eyelids, like it's kind of like it's sticking together, kind of like feel like you have difficulties opening your eyelids. It is not like that, or closing your eyes, if you rather say that. So just simply dab it on like that, so gently around the eyes. And it just felt like the next day it was more like the thing is that stuff like this is supposed to keep in moisture. So when I woke up the day after, that was basically today, then I sprayed a little bit of some water, or basically it was a serum I sprayed on my eyelids, and I sprayed it on my entire face as well, as I normally do in the morning. And I could sometimes just use water, just kind of like to do a little bit for my skin before I put the sunscreen on. And it felt like it had a little bit of some difficulty sinking in on my eyelids. And that is of course because this stuff here is designed, this one here, is designed to kind of like keep in moisture in the skin. So it will also work in the sense that if you're putting water onto your eyelids afterwards, it has a little bit of a difficulty sinking in. So that was kind of like the only thing I sort of noticed, that it took a little longer on my eyelids for it to sink in compared to the rest of my skin. But apart from that, it is sort of like it felt okay, but maybe it was a little bit greasy, but not a lot. And basically it was more like when I dabbed it on the outside here, and then you are lying on the pillow, then kind of like was like it was a bit like that. So some of this stuff stuck on the pillow, but I would say I maybe used a little bit too much last night. But as I'm doing it, just dabbing it on like this here, it feels kind of like okay, and it doesn't burn my eyelids or feels irritating on the skin or anything like that. So now when I'm just touching it with a clean finger, it doesn't feel greasy or anything like that. So kind of like it feels okay. So yes, I would say I don't have irritated eyelids, so it's not something I'm gonna use for forever, because I really don't need it. But I will sort of keep it, because I think I can just use it around my eyes as well, so kind of like use it up, because it's basically just a soothing cream, so for evening time anyway. So as I said, I don't put cream on in the daytime apart from a sunscreen. So I would say something like this, yes, if you have irritated eyelids, I would definitely give it a go. But there are other things you can do if you have irritated eyelids, and in general have an irritated sort of dry skin that sort of like is really sort of like it needs to be soothed. Because a lot of these products here, yes, you can put it on top of your skin and it will help for a little while, but it will not deal with the underlying issue, and we can talk about that a little bit later. So now if we look at this one here, it is also meant to be soothing for the skin. And basically there was a little sign at the back, is up here, and when I figured out what it actually said, it was obviously clear that you just open it and then you can spray it from all sort of angles. But I just thought that they showed it like this, and then it says 360, and I thought, okay, you have to turn it all the way around 360, but then you will be back to square one. So obviously what they meant was that you can use it kind of like in every sort of directions. So I thought maybe this was something to just like if you have an itchy face during the day, and kind of like you haven't put too much or enough cream on in the beginning, or whatever happened, and you could just kind of like, instead of just adding a little bit of water by some of these sprays that looks like this, kind of like something like this here from Eyelids, which is just basically water. You can add that to your skin during the day as well, but it will not sort of like really soothe the skin in the same way as something like this, because this is basically a cream. And I thought maybe I could just spray it directly onto my face, but I didn't do that. I started with my hand, and you can see here how it works, because this is very like a fine spray. But if you take something like this, it is more like a splash. It's a bit more. I would not put it on my skin like that. So I would put it on my hand, and then I would put it on my skin. But I would not put it on my face now, because we're going to try the other one, the Antirougeurs one, because that is a sunscreen. So I just add it to my arms and my fingers, because that was what I did the other day, and that was enough to find out that basically I'm not gonna put this stuff on my face, apart from maybe I could do it in the evening before I was going to bed or something like that, because this stuff here is it leaves a sort of like a thick sort of a waxy feel on the skin afterwards. So it's not something I would put on my face like on a daily basis, unless it was in the evening time. Yes, you could do that, but you would get a sort of thick sort of liquidy waxy coating on your face. So it is not something I would just top up my skincare during the day with a bit of a spray on my face like that. Definitely I would not do that. But as such, again, this is the stuff that is meant to keep in moisture or lock in moisture to your skin. So in that sense, I think it must be working pretty well. I don't have really dry skin, so I can't really say if it's working overwhelmingly well, but I would definitely say that it gives a sort of not a silicone sort of a feel to the skin, but it's sort of like a sticky sort of silicone sort of maybe feel. So a little bit of some diluted wax or yeah, something like that. So I could imagine that yes, this stuff will keep in moisture in your skin sort of well, but it is it's a certain sort of thick sort of coating on your skin, so I would not use it on my face unless it was in the evening time. So if we go over and have a look at one of the other products, so if we are looking at this one here, the one from Avène, the Antirougeurs, which is a day cream, then there is a little bit of a something with that one. And before I try it on my face, we can just have a little look at the color of the product, because this stuff here is meant for sort of like a skin that is red, so sort of like it has irritations and basic rosacea. So this one here, it has a sort of a green hue to it. And the idea is, of course, that it will counteract the redness in your face. But there is just another thing about the product as well, and that is because it is an SPF of 30. And that means, of course, there are UV filters in the product. So if you just have a little look at the color of the product here, you can just see it sort of like a greenish hue. Maybe you can see that. It sort of looks like this, and this is sort of like a green, very light. So obviously the idea, as I said, is to put it on the skin where it's red, and then it will sort of like counteract that sort of redness. But now this one here is of course it's a sunscreen, so we need a certain amount in order to get the SPF of 30 onto our face, because it's not enough just to take a little bit and then thinking, well, then I just put it on and it looks nice and it's sort of like fine. The thing is that in this product here, there are some of the modern UV filters. So yeah, unfortunately, you cannot get it in North America because of the FDA. So we need, there are some of the old ones as well. So like Avobenzone, most sunscreens still have that. But we need a 1.25 milliliter in order to get the correct amount on a face like my face. So we have here, that is just 1 milliliter. So we need more than 1 milliliter. So we put it on like this, so maybe that is a little bit more than 1 milliliter, so sort of like as so here, and then we just put it on my entire face, and just say, just have a little touch on my eyelids again. It feels really, it doesn't feel like it's slippery or sticky or so on, and that's maybe because I used a little bit less today than I did some of the other days. So it feels like there is some sort of a coating on my eyelids, but it doesn't feel sticky or greasy. So in that sense, it looks sort of like well, but obviously it's not something you put on your eyelids unless you have an issue. So yeah, so we just took all of the stuff out here, and then we will put it on my face. And there is that little thing about the UV filters in this product here, and it, as I said, is some of the modern ones, and one of them is a Tinosorb M, and that is a sort of a physical sort of a chemical sunscreen, so filter, and that means that you can see it on the skin. So we put this stuff on here, and a bit on the nose as well, and I don't have any cream apart from just what I put on my eyelids, but apart from that I don't have any sort of a cream on my face now. I've just washed it. So now this stuff here goes on. It has sort of not particularly pleasant sort of smell, and I can smells horrible. So like that, and yes, to be fair to the product, we need it on my throat as well, my neck here. And the thing is, you can maybe already see that this stuff here is gonna make your face look pretty white. So if you have a dark skin, maybe, I mean, if your skin is really dark, then maybe it could be that if you have rosacea, then that is basically not visible. But I don't really know enough about that. I just imagine that if you have very dark skin, then it won't be visible if you have any sort of a redness, but maybe lumps and bumps and stuff like that still will be visible, obviously. So this stuff here, we put it on, and we put it there on the eyelids as well. And yes, we already have a little bit of cream on, but This is basically just to show you what the color will be, because this really, it doesn't matter if it feels greasy and so on this skin, because the problem here is that if you use the correct amount, you will be white in the face, even if you have a skin color like my skin. And when I tried it some other days, I just felt like this is crazy. And it also, I would say, it makes your teeth look yellow, so not great. So this stuff here, yeah, it is not. This definitely, it is not great. It also contains titanium dioxide, and one of the issues with titanium dioxide is that it can break down some of the sun filters, so that is not particularly great. So yes, I could of course smear this stuff here around, but I think I will need to smear this on for a long time to make this stuff disappear or look just a tad natural. This simply does not look natural, and it is overwhelmingly greasy, like really greasy. And yeah, but yeah, it is Avène after all, isn't it? So no surprise there, in my view. So yeah, I would say yes, if you need something to cover up some sort of a redness, yes, obviously it's gonna cover up a little bit of some redness, or sort of like any sort of color really, to an extent. But I would say that, I mean, do you want to look a little bit red in your face, or do you want to look like sort of like porcelain in your face? I mean, it looks like yeah, I mean, this looks completely like crazy. Why is it using so much? Well, I do that because if I don't, then I will not get the protection on my skin. That is an SPF of 30, as they are talking about, as you can see it down here. So it is really important to use the correct amount, because if you just think, okay, I just use a little bit of this one and then use a little bit of something else with another factor in it or something like that, well, in the end you really don't know how much you are protecting your skin for the sun. So yeah, always use the correct amount. In this instance here, it is 1.25 milliliters. So you're gonna end up looking like this. And I would say it has a sort of like a little bit of a not tingling effect on my skin, but it's more like well, it might soothe my skin, but I basically actually feel a little bit of some sort of a burning sensation. So that's not great. And I mean, definitely this stuff here, like really. So this stuff here, I would say, yeah, definitely is not something I'm gonna buy again. So I said in the beginning that we could talk a little bit about some other stuff you can do for your skin, because the thing is, of course, that if you have some issues with your skin and you have this sort of irritated, flaky skin, and maybe like the moisture barrier is not working that well, then it is not enough just to use something like this or something like this, or maybe this one here. Well, it simply is not gonna work properly, because you're just kind of like doing something on top of the problem as such. So what can you do? Well, basically what you need to do is that, or at least one of the things that you need to do is like to make sure that your skin is producing ceramides, and yes, it does that all the time, but if you're not producing enough, then your skin barrier will be compromised, and that is not great. So one thing you can do, and one thing that I am doing, is that I'm using something like a evening primrose oil, and I just got this one here from Weight Loss, simply just because when I'm out shopping anyway, it was there. And the one I normally use is from a company called Olivita. You can also get some organic ones as well, but what is important is that it is a cold press, because that is the best quality. This one here, it doesn't say what it is, so I assume it is not cold press, because I guess then they would have said it on the tin, wouldn't they? Because it's something that is a selling point. Just as when they say up here, women's well-being, it also means that they are trying to sell it to women, but actually, well, it works well for me as well, or any other man, or any they, if that is. So I think just to say that it is for women's well-being, I think it's a little bit of some sales trick, because basically this is something that's gonna help everybody really. So if you would like to produce some good ceramides, you need something else as well, because this stuff here, you might already have tried it, and it will give a sort of like an oily feel on your skin. But in order to help your skin produce even more ceramide, then you need something else. That is an amino acid called L-serine, and it looks like this. And this one here is actually empty, because I have used the whole stuff here. So the thing is, I cannot find this. I normally buy this one on AFAIR, but they haven't had it for a really long time. So I used another company, and that is something called bulk supplements. I think it's an American company as well. So this is those that I use this at the moment. And how much do I take? Well, I take a spoon like this, and that is about 5 grams. So they say on this one here, I think it's they say something about 10 grams a day. I would say that maybe a little bit unnecessarily a lot, and here they say a lot less. I think it's about 2,000 milligrams or 2 grams a day, or they say maybe several times a day or something like that. But what I do is I take 5 grams, and that really makes a difference on my skin, because when I start using that, I mean, this one here, you can also use like a walnut oil, and I'll say it's a good thing to pair it with something like a cod liver oil as well. That's really nice to make your skin look shiny and feel like really supple, and your moisture barrier will be working really well if you are taking such supplements. But when I added this one here, so the L-serine, then really something else happened. It is just like your body is producing ceramides on a higher level, basically. So I would say if you have something like a problem with the irritated eyelids and irritated skin in general, because I think if you have irritated eyelids, maybe the rest of your skin is also a little bit irritated. So instead of using a lot of money on stuff like this, I would say to begin with, yes, just to take the worst itchiness and stuff like that, it could be good. But to rely on something like this for kind of like forever, I would say that is not that great, because rather you should go in and work with your body in order to make it produce more ceramide. So yes, another thing you can do is also to add something like lactic acid onto your skin, but I would not do that as long as your skin is irritated. But as soon as your skin starts to be a little bit better, if you are, for example, taking something like evening primrose oil and the L-serine here as well, then when your skin barrier is working a little bit better, then you can start and use some like lactic acid, because that will actually help your skin produce more ceramides as well. And something like this, that is just something that will kind of like soothe your skin, like but it will not really sort of like solve the essential problem. So yes, something like this, but I will look for something that is cold press, and you can find something that is organic as well. But cold press, that is the best stuff, and then you can have some walnut oil as well. So if you're taking something like walnut oil and it doesn't taste nice, then maybe it is rancid. So go for something that tastes really nice, like you would imagine a really nice walnut should taste. So yes, you can get that sort of stuff, and I will show you another. Make you a little link up here, so you can see some of the other videos that I have made about ceramides and walnut oil and so on. So yes, there is of course that other little thing you can do, and that is to use another amino acid, and that is something like lysine here. And that is really great for collagen as well, and for the skin in general. And I will link to another video that I was talking about that, so you can see that up here as well. So yes, hopefully this was something that could help you if you have some sort of itchy and flaky, sort of irritated skin. So if you'd like to see more of this sort of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell, and do other things please do in order to be notified when I upload more of this sort of videos. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.